What? Bang!
Whoa! Wrestling Podcast. Just when they think they got the answers, I change the question.
Rep screws rep.
Yeah!
Woo!
Who are you to doubt El Dandy? Because this guy's a serious professional.
Did he do it? Unbelievable!
Too hot to handle and too cold to hold. And I am Macho King Savage.
Shut your mouth, you thong-wearing fatty. I said WWE stands for...
It's me, Austin! I will never retire!
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey, yo, Pro Wrestling Podcast listeners, welcome to the show where we don't sing it, we bring it. Help us out and click subscribe to show your support. Hey, are you looking for the latest and greatest wrestling game every single year and dropping way too much money to do it? You gotta stop. Put that cash back in your pocket. Grab Wrestler Unstoppable. Totally free. All you got to do, go to the website, app.wrestlerunstoppable.com, where you can create a wrestler, sign contracts, get into storylines, headline PLEs, even build your own corporation from the ground up. I mean, divisions, championships, everything, all included, totally free. Again, app.wrestlerunstoppable.com. While you're there, look up Odin Maximus. That's my avatar. I'll be happy to help you get started in the game. Hey, are you looking to become a member of the Pro Wrestling Podcast family? The best way to do that, Patreon. Patreon.com/Pro Wrestling Podcast. Sign up today. You can get your name in the shout out. So my good buddy John down in Texas. John, love giving you that shout out. And the way you do that is very simple. Look, there's no obligation. You could sign up for our free tier. The free tier will notify you every single time we put something up on Patreon. Now, I put all our posts on Patreon, but there is sometimes some Patreon exclusive content. So for that, you got to be a paid member. To be a paid member, you could donate any amount you'd like. I couldn't care less, and I will still give you that shout out every single episode. However, if you would like to host with me, that's a whole different story. $15 a month contribution gets hosting a show with myself. And let's be honest, I don't know who's going to be hosting with me. It could be you. Go ahead, donate $15 a month, and I'll be happy to put you on the show with me. We will co-host together. If you want to do $7.50 a month, we'll put your name into a drawing to also be able to co-host a show with myself. I'd love to do that. Love to engage with the fans and listeners of the show. So by all means, if you're interested, do that. But again, no obligation. Grab the free tier if you want, just so they notify you as frequently as possible. Whatever streaming service you're listening to us on, whether it's Spreaker, Bluesky, Facebook, Instagram, Discord, Rumble, Odysee, Daily Motion. There's so many of them. Podomatic, Podbean, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, whatever it's called, Google Podcasts. We're on all of them. Whatever one you're on, though, if you want the show to keep going, I need to keep the lights on. You know how you do that? Get me more views through the logarithm. And the way we do that is give me a like, give me a subscribe, give me a thumbs up, give me whatever it is that they use on whatever platform you're using. And most importantly, give us comments. The more comments, the more engagement, the higher they put us in the search histories, and then other people tune in. And hopefully that'll generate enough interest, increase our subscriber base so we can bring you better content and keep this thing going. That being said, if you've got questions, comments, something you want me to touch on in the future episode, the best way to do that is through the Pro Wrestling Sound Off line, 267-642-1160. I'll get to those questions or comments in a future episode. Tonight, welcome to this episode of the Pro Wrestling Podcast. We got some crazy conversation tonight. I mean, things I never thought I was going to talk about. Let's start with the stuff that is common knowledge, right? Obviously, we got to address the Zilla Fatu debut on NXT. One more member of the bloodline, but I'm shocked that they let him keep the name Zilla Fatu. I'm actually glad they did. That's not something WWE typically does. They just did the same thing with Cruz Montana, which I understand he picked that name, but I would much rather have Mike Santana. They let him keep the name, and then when you think about it, when he's not going straight to the main roster. He's going through NXT first, which they did the same kind of thing with Solo Sikoa. His salary somebody released online. It said it's $150,000 a year, typical NXT level contract. When you look at the rest of the bloodline, there's some serious money being shelled out to those guys. There was somebody put a graphic up of all of their salaries. Interesting stuff. But Zilla Fatu getting a nice starting salary to start with the company. Hopefully he works his way up and gets on the main roster as soon as he can, as long as they got room for him. You know, we're trying to find time to put people on the show like Ilya Dragunov and Jordan Grace. So the more people we put up there, the harder that's going to be. But I think he's an incredibly talented young man and adds a new layer to the whole bloodline conversation. Jim Ross in the news because this week he did have brain surgery, and the word from, I believe it was his niece, is that he had successful brain surgery. Thank heavens. Prayers out for a speedy recovery to Jim Ross. What I thought was really interesting, Ric Flair putting out a comment, and if you know anything about these two and how their relationship is ebbed and flowed over the years, he and Ric Flair have had some issues in the last couple, you know, related to past indiscretions and things like that. But Ric Flair put out a beautiful post today to Jim Ross, very much in support of Jim Ross. And you know, Ric Flair is notorious for tweeting some really bizarre stuff sometimes. This was not. This is very humble, very down to earth, very caring, and very supportive of someone who he referred to as being one of the greatest announcers in the history of the business when he sat side by side with Jerry Lawler. I really, really enjoyed his post, and I can't always say that about Ric Flair posts. So, as Ric Flair is, let's also all send our well wishes to Jim Ross. Give him a comment over at JR's Barbecue. Send him a message. Go to his webpage. Buy his barbecue sauces. Whatever you got to do. Anything helps with Jim Ross, especially since now he's talking about hanging up the boots, so to speak, and not doing his commentating anymore. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. There was some question about Jey Uso. There was some conversation about maybe a month and a half ago, about how his wife had filed for divorce. Apparently those things are wrapping themselves up. But then somebody had brought up Jada Parker, and he got very defensive. Well, they've been spotted arriving at Raw together still. So it sounds as though, of course, I don't have anything to verify, but from the images that are online from Raw this week, they were arriving together and may still be an item. Maybe they've always been an item. I don't know. Not a good look for Jey Uso, if you ask me. The Yeet man, who's supposed to be such a baby face, having a side piece when he was still married is a little kind of messed up. If that happened, because I have no way to know that for sure. But it's certainly, the evidence is not helping his situation any. But it sounds like the two of them are still a couple, because they're still hanging at Raw. Big news that many people may have missed. Oba Femi and Cody Rhodes will be on Friday night challenging for the WWE World Tag Team Championship, going against The Vision. Now, it was announced that the match is taking place. I suspect it's going to be a dark match. If not, that's insane. I would love to see Oba and Cody as a pairing anyways. Not because I think they'd make a great team, because I think they make the most bizarre pairing ever. That, and I want to get Braun Breaker away from the tag titles any way possible. But I suspect this is going to be a dark match. I really do. And really what I think it is a way to test the water. They did this match, sort of. They did Seth Rollins and Oba versus The Vision over in Europe a few weeks back, and Oba and Braun had a beautiful moment in the ring where they had a stare down and got some physicality going. And I suspect we're going to get more of that in this match to see if they can feel each other out, see how to work this angle, and that way WWE can decide what they want to do in terms of moving forward with this teased Braun Breaker versus Oba Femi feud that they've been toying with the last 2 weeks. And the last thing I got to get to tonight, and I, in 2026, never would have thought that I would have had to cover this. And then by covering it, my booking brain has gone on like overdrive here. The Miz was talking this week about a pitch that he made to Vince McMahon to have a feud with the Ultimate Warrior. Hear me out. Basically, what The Miz was saying is he wanted to have something at WrestleMania where all these former WWE Intercontinental Champions would come out and challenge him for the Intercontinental Championship. If you remember a few years back when he was IC champion at WrestleMania, these guys would come out and he would just be beating all these Intercontinental Champions until the last one would be the Ultimate Warrior, who would run to the ring and basically squash him and win the Intercontinental Championship off The Miz. And as you think back about this, how insane does that sound? But then follow down that rabbit hole just a little bit. Here goes what I said about my booking brain. First off, which Intercontinental Champions would you bring out? Because most of them would have to be baby faces. So you got like Tito Santana gets in the ring every now and again. You could bring him back. That's one of the old school guys. Let's see, who else is still functional enough to be able to do it? Could you get Don Morocco to come in and make an appearance? Let's see. Let's go further in the future. Let's see. Honky Tonk Man, I'll get to in a minute. We'll talk about him in a minute. Obviously, you can't do things with you can't. Randy Savage, Mr. Perfect are gone, so you can't do that. You could do some guys from the Attitude Era, I suppose. Bring in Val Venus since he just came back to wrestling, but that's now, not a few years ago. But here's what I was thinking: no matter who they would have brought back, Albert, whoever, the best angle I think they could have done if they did this was have Honky Tonk Man come out last. Get in the ring with The Miz, but then tell him he wasn't going to fight him. You know, he's the Intercontinental Champion, blah, blah, blah. But give the Honky Tonk Man the microphone and have him say, get him somebody out here to wrestle. I don't care who it is. Just like he did way back in 87 at SummerSlam. And then have the Warrior come out to beat The Miz. That way the Honky Tonk Man and The Miz could argue after the fact. And you could still do what The Miz was saying, having the Warrior win the championship or whatever. I am shocked that Vince did not jump all over this. And obviously, hindsight's 2020. The Warrior had his untimely demise shortly after WrestleMania. It's kind of heartbreaking at the timing of it. I'm glad he got to come back at Mania. I'm thrilled that he got to go to Raw the next night and really thank the fans and say goodbye in a way to the fans. But how awesome would that have been at WrestleMania to see the Warrior sprint to the ring and win the WWE Intercontinental Championship? How awesome would that have been? I wish they'd have done it. Unfortunately, they didn't. So that's one more thing we're just going to have to file in the back of your brain is like crazy creative that WWE never followed through on. Put that right up there with the Bret Hart's versus Hulk Hogan's, the Undertaker versus Sting stuff. You know, all those types of matches. Put this one up there now. Because now I know it's nowhere on the level of those two matches, but man, I still wish I could have seen Undertaker, Andre. There's another great one. But yeah, what a crazy situation that could have been. That's all the time we have for this episode. Check back with us next episode. We run down the latest wrestling news and rumors. Special thanks, as always, goes out to Suno for creating the music and sound effects I use in my show. If you want to bring a new friend to family game night, it's easy. I got 3 options for you. Sketchy People. It's by Beezle Games. You know, you could bring a new friend to family game night with this game where it's kind of like Chutes and Ladders meets Pictionary. You got to grab a copy. Or maybe you want to test your shopping skills in the supermarket. See who can get in and get out the fastest. You could do that with a game from Doodle Games called Banani Market. Very cool game. Get in, get out, showcase your skills. Or maybe you want to fly around the cosmos, grabbing the relics from all different corners of the universe and get your path going to the final challenge in Legendary Elements by Fufu Games. All 3 games available right now at thegamecrafter.com. Look, you've been playing the same board games your whole life. It's time to get something new for family game night. Grab one of these 3. I've got all 3. They are awesome. And there's many others at thegamecrafter.com. It is a website designed for independent creativity, for people who want to make their own games and bring something really cool that hasn't been done before. I support those types. It's like supporting indie wrestling. You got to do that every now and again. If you're looking for your next career move, you're considering college, university life, maybe you're just trying to find some training for your next opportunity, go to my website at frolifeplanning.com for all your higher education needs, as Fro Life Educational Planning is for today, for tomorrow, and for life with Fro Life. I'm Fred Froelich, better known as Dr. Fro. I want to thank you for taking some time with us today. Until next time, take care, everybody. Have a great night.
Wrestling Podcast.